Everybody ready? All right, well, a lot of stuff to talk about. Let's disappointing loss. Pleased with the younger guys who came in and helped us have a really nice comeback. And then the big issue in the room, both Victor Robbins and Eric Moreland are suspended for we'll just say suspended for now, and we'll find out exactly how long they're suspended for violation of team rules. And I know you're going to ask me in 15 different ways what that means, and I'm going to give you 15 different answers saying violation of team rules. That'll be all I'll say about it. So we can go through that exercise, or you can just ask me some different questions. I wish they weren't, but life happens to these young guys, and as soon as I'm able to let you know how long they'll be suspended, I'll let you know. I believe they will be able to practice. This all kind of happened right before the game, so with that, I'll open it up for questions.
The disappointment of that happening, the timing of this, especially.
Yeah, Stephen. It's one of those things that you never can be prepared for that. Well, maybe some guys can if it happens. I mean, this is the first time it's happened to me here and or ever, actually, now that I think about it. But you can't prepare your players for that. And I know there's a big letdown when it's a player like Eric, who is a big part of the team, a part of the production of the team. But I thought the guys did a good job in the first half. We just couldn't get enough scoring. I thought those young guys came in there and played great D. And usually, if we can score a few more points and make the game closer, I don't think it gets out of hand the way it did.
In the second half there, when ASU went up by a lot, you went with a lineup of Jarmal Reed,
right,
Shaftinar, Collier, Barton, and Langston Morris Walker. That kind of seemed to spark the run that brought the Beavers back. I mean, was there a reason for that lineup? Is that something we're going to see more?
The reason was because they were the ones who were playing the way that we needed to play in order to come back at that time. It's no secret that coaches play the guys who are going to help them win the game. So there was I didn't predetermine I was going to put that lineup in. Went by the feel of the game, and those were the guys who were getting the work done. And they did a fantastic job. I mean, they got the crowd back into it. They got our bench back into it. They put some pressure on the other team. They were tremendously outmatched at that time from a talent standpoint and an experience standpoint, and they just hung in there, and I couldn't have been more proud of them. Jarmal played a fantastic game. You guys have to know that Charlie Barton has been kind of under a dark cloud this season. He's just had a tough season. It was great to see him break out of that a little bit in a game where it really mattered. And then, the rest of the guys are going to be what you can take away from that is we have a bench. Those guys are going to be good. They just need a little bit more experience, and they need a little bit more seasoning.
Can you talk a little bit more about Jarmal's game?
Yeah, I had no idea how many rebounds he had, but I knew he had a lot. And for those of you who don't know how much harder that was than you really thought, was because he was guarding the other team's point guard the entire time he was in the game. So to get 11 rebounds from the point guard position is pretty awesome. And then he had, 4 or 5 assists, I'm sure. He had 5 assists, 1 turnover. That's a freshman, folks, a freshman front court player. So that he gives us some things that we don't necessarily have, with both Angus and Daniel Gomez being out due to injury. And the other thing I have to point out is that he played a mature game. I mean, he didn't look like a freshman out there, body-wise or temperament-wise.
What made you decide to have him check Carson?
Well, just doing the scouting report, having a bigger guy on him, I thought would make it harder for him. And Jarmal is a guy who can guard smaller guys. I think he did a great job. I mean, he still had 20 points, but he was 9 of 19 and 1 for 5. So I thought Jarmal did a pretty good job on him.
Why do you think such a lack of production from your more experienced, talented guys?
Phil, if I knew that, I could fix it. You know, I think that they have to get used to being the guys. You know, Roberto for sure has to get used to that. You know, he's a marked man in our league, and he's going to be guarded by two of the other team's best defenders. That's probably a reason. The other thing is that and Ahmad is, you know, he's been very up and down this year, very up and down, and you know, it might be a confidence thing. It's certainly not a work ethic thing. These guys are in the gym all the time. We're working on things. I think they are feeling the burden of having to be the best guys on the team, and it sort of bogs them down both mentally and emotionally.
When their shot's not dropping, do they need to find other ways to be able to help the team?
Well, you know, we talk about that, and the way we play is set up so that everybody helps everybody. So they shouldn't be they shouldn't get too down when they're not playing well or not shooting well, because there's other ways to help the team. You know, you can do it on defense. You can set up other guys. And I thought in the first half, they didn't play a particularly good first half, but we had a decent first half. But I think in the second half, they felt like they weren't being productive enough and tried to be overproductive, and we got kind of bogged down in our offense. That's something I have to work on with them and help them get out of that, because when you're in the heat of the game, it's hard to pull yourself out of that.
Greg, you've seen Carrick Felix for a couple years now.
Yeah.
Does he seem like a different player this year?
Well, he's doing way more than he did when he first got here. You can tell he's worked a lot on his game. I mean, that outside shot just looks like a foul shot. You know, it looks so good. And he's always played hard, and he's just added more. He's added more tools to his toolkit. I mean, you know, his ability to get to the basket was always good, but now that you add that shot, I mean, I think he hit a mid-range shot, and he also hit a couple of threes on us, and it helps everybody else. I mean. And he's a terrific kid, you know. He's a terrific kid, so.
Not to be nitpicky, but with about around 4 minutes to go, you guys had cut it to 4.
Right.
Vaughn had really been your best offensive player in the second half, and then you pulled him then, and I think there was a 2-minute stretch where he was on the bench, and they extended the lead to 8 in that time. So do you just feel like Vaughn needed a breather at that point?
Well, not to be nitpicky back to you, you didn't see he cramped up and he was back in the back, so he would have been in if that hadn't happened. But I'm not going to bust you on that. But since you said nitpicky, I said nitpicky. But he had cramped up badly, and we were trying to get some fluids in him, and I was trying to do kind of the offense-defense thing. Otherwise, he would have been in there, and he was just completely wiped out. And you got to remember, too, he's been coming off the bench, so his minutes have been sort of shifted differently, and he gets a little bit more rest when he comes off the bench. So, you know, he played a great game, too. I mean, I felt bad for him. He made some big foul shots at the end. I mean, the guys were, you know, it's good to see that we still have the fight even with the better talent. We just have to play better. We have to play better, and that's what we have to work on going forward.
Craig, in that stretch, you know, even with Devon out, it looked like for a split second it was a 1-point game with Olaf's 3.
Oh, man, it went in and came out. Yeah.
But then they get 3 quick buckets, couple layups, and a dunk the other way.
That's one of those situations where if you make that shot, maybe I call a timeout, regroup, but you miss it, and it can be demoralizing, and it manifests itself by not getting back on D, and then you can't call timeout because the ball didn't go in, and you know, I'd have to look at the tape, but it's just one of those things that, you know, as the game evolves, can be the turning point, which it turned out to be. But I don't want to make it sound like that shot caused us to lose. I mean, Olaf played a great game and helped us be in the position to win. But you know, if you don't play well, you don't get plays like that. You know, if you're playing well for the whole game, you get plays like that. It's sort of karma.
You got out-rebounded by 14. How much did you miss today?
By about 14 rebounds. Because he probably would have had at least 10. And you know, I mean, Jamal did his part, and I thought Devon did his part, but you just can't replace a guy who can rebound that well. And you know, there were a couple of plays, and I again, I'll have to look at the tape, but I can remember them where we play great D for like 33 seconds. They shoot the ball, they get a long rebound because they shot a long shot. Another 35 seconds. You know, Eric usually gets those rebounds. He just has a knack for hunting them down. So yeah, we missed him tonight. We're gonna miss him until he comes back, but he'll be back. I've been told, so I don't know when.
With Arizona coming into town, you know, or coming up here
Yeah.
on Saturday, how do you kind of avoid another stumble coming in here?
Well, you know, you might not be able to avoid it, but you go back tonight, game plan for tomorrow's practice, then have practice and game plan for the game, and you just go back to work, Phil. There's not much else you can do. You know, if I had a magic potion for this, I'd have used it like 4 years ago. But you know, it's our job to keep these guys heads up, keep them confident, get through this tough stretch. I mean, you know, if there ever was a front-loaded conference schedule, I mean, you know, you play last week a team that's probably an NCAA tournament team. This team, which is at the top of the league and could be an NCAA tournament team, 4th ranked in the country. UCLA, probably another NCAA tournament team. Those are great opportunities. But it's tough. It's a tough road to hoe, and so we have to make sure we stay confident. We have those guys feel like that it's still very early in the conference season.
Greg, Moreland and Robbins, is it not academic related?
Violation of team rules. Nice try. And I was about to say, I'm surprised we got through the whole thing without somebody trying it, but I knew somebody was going
Are
to
they
try.
gonna practice tomorrow or?
Yeah, they'll be able to practice. And, you know,
Saturday you won't know until you decide whenever.
yeah, I will probably, the next time I talk to you guys, have a good idea what the full situation is. And I'll be glad to share that. But it'll still be violation of team rules. Anybody else? Thank you for your patience. Yep.